What's going on, world? And welcome back to the Pursuit of the Good Life podcast, your favorite podcast that helps you grow both personally and professionally. I'm your host with the most, your favorite coach, the Cameron Lovelace, helping you create your version of the good life every single Thursday. And y'all know that we normally have great guests, but I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I was on vacation last week, so I didn't schedule a guest for after. And y'all know last week I had my wife. It was a phenomenal episode. Go back and check that episode out. But this week, I wanted to take a beat because um, it's very important to pause, reflect for a second, but it's also important for rest. So just to be in the full, if y'all weren't here on the last week's episode, um, this is like the first adult vacation that I've just taken. I just had an amazing 4 night 5 day vacation in Cancun, Mexico, with my beautiful bride of 3 years, celebrating our anniversary and our love. Going 3 years to go, a lifetime to go. That's how that saying goes. But um, this was the first like vacation I've taken as an adult, like of my own independent money, and a time that I have, you know, set aside for me to just, we're just gonna relax for a week. We're not gonna worry about work. We're not gonna worry about what's going on in the world. We're not gonna worry about anything else. We're just going to relax and go on vacation. And in doing that, um, like I said, it was phenomenal. Like 80-degree days, 70-degree nights. It was just a phenomenal experience. And upon reflecting, it made me really think like, look, like, dude, one, you need to do this more often. Because it is no reason why in the 10 years that you have been an adult and you've been out of school for what was it, 2019, so you're going on 2 years now of being outside of school, that you haven't done this. Like, you haven't taken time to just rest. You haven't taken like a period time to say, bump what's going on in work, bump what's going on with school, bump what's going on everything else in the world. Let's just relax, have fun, and do what you want to do just for a hot second, right? And so I didn't realize, one, how long it's been since I actually did that. Cause I'm gonna be honest, I'm one of those people who is like, let's grind now, play later. And for me, my problem is I don't know when to play later, or I don't feel right playing later unless I reach a certain like goal or a target. And if I don't ever do that, then okay, well, we're just gonna delay that play time, right? Um, but when you couple that in with the fact that we're in a panoramic, excuse me, we're in a pandemonium, excuse me, we've been in a pandemic for going on over a year now, and I have been feeling the effects of that pandemic, but I didn't really notice until like we went on vacation, because literally I have been working from home since the pandemic started. At the entirety of the pandemic, I've been seeing my clients from home, in this matter of fact, in this room, on my laptop. And I didn't realize how much that affected me, because normally I'm getting up early, I'm taking my shower, I'm getting my clothes on, I'm driving X amount of minutes to my job, working, coming back, like I'm coming, I'm going, I'm having to leave the house every day. And a year ago, that all came to a screeching halt. And as an introvert, I'm not really bothered by it. I'm not really bothered by staying by myself. I can entertain myself just fine and be perfectly okay with not physically being around people. Like, love people, I do. I love helping people, but I'm okay with just being by myself and with the few people that I love, and just taking care of that routine day to day. So I'm gonna be honest. Those of you who are extroverts, I I wasn't feeling that pain. I wasn't feeling the pain of going out. I wasn't feeling the pain of being around people, being around crowds. I wasn't feeling that. But I didn't realize that staying in the same environment can be very mundane. It can be very dry. It can be very repetitive, and it can bring your spirit down and get into a it can get into a low place, but you not even realize it's a low place because that lowness becomes the new normal. And so, upon reflecting, sitting at the pool, sitting and just watching the waves crash at the beach, going on these excursions, going horseback riding, going ATV riding, just spending time at dinner back to back nights with my wife without thinking, without connecting. I was international, so I didn't necessarily call everybody each night. I ain't trying to build up the data usage, but disconnecting and literally unplugging from the world, it forced me kind of to plug into myself. You know what I'm saying? And it forced me to plug into what I needed so that I could start to recharge. And so y'all have heard me talk about, those of y'all who are loyal listeners, those of y'all who are loyal listeners have heard me talk about the core four. The core four parts of your life that really are essential in creating a good life that each one has to have its focus on. Of course, there's the physical aspect, which is, of course, your health and things you need to do physically to take care of your body that you've been given. Two, your mental health, the things that you need to do to take care of your mind. Of course, the financials, goes without saying. And then there's the last one, which I've said balance, but I'm specifically talking about the spiritual side of balance. And I'm not talking about necessarily um, the religious side of things. I'm talking specifically to the spirit, the things that you need internally, the intangible part of yourself that needs consistent restoration. How do we really build that up? That's what I want to dive into really today, because we talk so much about the physical, what you need to do, what health, what kind of diet do you need, how much exercise do you need, what does your body need to build, to grow, and sustain itself, and so that you can live a long life. We've talked about the mental side of things, to have that mental clarity, to ease your anxieties, to overcome depression, to cover those mental bogging obstacles, those mental change that keep you from doing that. Of course, we talk about getting the bag, but I realize now we didn't really talk about the spirit very much, or I haven't really on this, especially on this podcast, really taking that time to not just release your spirit, but really like build it, like taking the time that your spirit needs to water it, to grow it, to get it to the place that you need to do, like really paying attention to that. Because like in terms of health, I don't think we really talk about that very much, but that's very important. But it here's where it kind of gets kind of kooky, like woo, like stuff like that. You know how some people get when we start talking about spirituality. um it's really the activities that it requires different things. So there's as y'all know, y'all have to take care of the personal side of that first. So when we're talking about growing the spirit, watering the spirit like a plant, what are the things that your spirit needs to really be in a literal positive light? What are those things that works for you? I know I do this with my clients all the time, especially my depressive clients. um, Music is a great way that can literally change the atmosphere of the room. So for those of y'all who are, religiously based, those of y'all who are in the church, y'all know that the devil, the Satan, was the angel of the air. He was the angel of music. of worship. And that's why he was able to, literally get so many angels to his side, um, before God laid the beat down and smacked all of them down, into hell. But music literally can change the entire uh, momentum. It can shift the whole room into a certain connection. Just think about it when you are at a certain place, and let's say it's very dry and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden the DJ says, "Do do 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 do, whoa whoa, you make me happy." Or for those of you who are my millennials, like, yeah, I got that swag. That swag. I'm swagging and I'm surfing. I'm swagging and I'm surfing. Uh, th- it's the platinum band. This time we gonna get funky. Everybody clap your hands. Like literally, music can shift the entire atmosphere of the room. But how many times are you doing that for yourself? Like I was saying with my depressive clients, how how much time are you spending listening to angry, depressive, sad music? How much time are you literally spending in that? If you are, we need to change that playlist. We need to edit that to something more uplifting, something that's gonna get you hype in the morning. I know for me, like when I need to start and I need to get back to it, especially since I got back from vacation, I'm feeling a little lazy. But something that I do, I have a playlist called Rise and Grind that is very upbeat, up tempo music. Most of the topics of the songs are about grinding, about getting to it, working. I got Eric Thomas on there. I grind. That the chorus is Monday I grind, Tuesday I grind, Wednesday I grind, and so that puts you in a mood to go out and get it, right? And that comes from an energy outside of yourself. And so the thing about it is, when you are building up your spirit, usually it comes from a force outside of yourself that you're pouring into the literal spirit. You see, the things that I talked about, none of that has to do with physical. Like I'm not physically playing the music. I'm if anything, I'm just listening to it. I'm not mentally thinking about the nuances or trying to mentally overthink. No, no, no. All I'm doing is receiving the energy from something else, right? And so when we're talking about building up the spirit, outside of music, another thing that you can do is really sit, and you can either speak. There are people saying manifesting. Um, some people, a lot of I prefer positive affirmations, decreeing and declaring, speaking things that are not as though they were. And so that you physically saying it and you hearing yourself say it can also like change the mood of your spirit, because you have to forcibly build something up to release it, right? Like you have to, like hearing yourself say, "This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad it is. I am the head and not the tail. I am the lender and not the borrower." Like literally hearing yourself says that, you have to say those words. It produces something out of you in the atmosphere for you, right? And so there's that element of building up your spirit that comes from you having like the energy, like the internal passive, the things that you need to do to set your spirit right. Personally, music, positive affirmation, um, definitely watching something that's good for your mental health as well, but also like something that's going to get you in a positive mood, like setting the atmosphere with your room, with the colors that you like. Obviously, lighter colors are better, but um, I'm personally a blue guy. Blues keep me in a cool, calm mood. Green people like greens, people like yellows, people like reds. But all of those colors, like they do impact the way that your mood is and the way that your spirit flows. So the first part of your spiritual maintenance is making sure that you have that those things that contribute to your internal flow, right? But as I just discovered on vacation, a part of it has to do with your environment and also the people that you interact with. So, I greatly, I'm gonna be honest, I greatly underestimated this part as an introvert, as a chameleon. I greatly underestimated this portion of not really interacting and spending the time with people on a consistent basis. I realized like I missed, you know, getting out and really just sitting and engaging with people, but also traveling, like doing those type of things. Because in therapy, I recommend nature therapy. So that's where you literally go out into the environments and just experience nature in a raw format. Obviously, when it's warmer, it's the better time to do this. But some people can do the ice, like the ice cold temperatures too. But really, like feeling the air, feeling the warm sunlight, and literally just practicing mindfulness and just taking it all in is very good and therapeutic, particularly for your spirit. And I got a healthy dose of this when I was in Cancun in the 80-degree days and 70-degree nights. Feeling that cool pool water, feeling the cold. I don't. It's not the Atlantic because it was in like the peninsula or whatever, but the ocean. As salty as the water tasted, it still was good to like feel the waves and like see what's happening and feeling the sand between your toes and feeling the white waves come back and forth and just really just experiencing it with your senses. Ironically, interacting with it through your physical sense, it renewed my spirit. And I have a question for you, for those of y'all who have been maybe stuck in the house, those of you who have been working a lot. What have you done to put your spirit in a place that it can be restored, that it can be recharged, that it can be refreshed? When's the last time you did that? Because that's very essential in creating your version of the good life. Because if you don't do that, but you take care of everything else that you're experiencing, um, the uh, I'll say the filter. Let's go Instagram. The filter on it's just a little bit of a different experience, right? The contrast, the color tints, the things that you're experiencing when you're not taking care of your spirit, the things that you're experiencing are just not the same. And I realized that like going to Cancun and coming back is that you're like, yo, you're not worried about work. Like you told all your clients, like, look, I'm on vacation for a week. I'll see y'all in 2 weeks. Like you told everybody, like, I'm gone. I'll be here. If it's an emergency, y'all know how to reach me, but it won't be an emergency while I'm gone. And so like being able to unplug and then plug into a different environment where you can be recharged, where you can be renewed, where you can be refreshed, where you can be re-energized, revitalized, where you can get all of that directly into the spirit, it can just be great for you. And so, for those of y'all who can't necessarily afford to go on vacation, I still think that you should plan a getaway. Even if you are somebody as simple as a mom, a parent, somebody who has a whole lot of people that they're responsible for, take a night or two, probably twos, preferably, and go check into a hotel with just yourself and turn your phone on airplane mode, have them call somebody else, and do whatever it is that you want to do. Matter of fact, don't take a week. A week might be too long, but do something that you can literally unplug and do the stuff that you want to do. You want to pray? Go pray, praise, do things that you want to do. You want to go out to eat? Go out to eat. You want to drink yourself under the table? Don't really recommend that. But respectfully, do what you want to do. Like, do it's I'm stressing this point because I realize now that I was lacking in that area, and I didn't realize how much that affected me until I was on vacation. It was like, wow, this is the only time that I have been completely unplugged from what I got going on back at home, from what I got going on at work, from what I got going on in my business, for what I'm trying to build, for what I'm trying to do. Like, I am completely 100% present in this moment. And that's the importance of the spiritual side of the core four, is it recenters everything else. It helps keep you from getting too leaned into weather, or too leaned into mental, too leaned into financials. That spiritual balance part of the core four is extremely essential, and if you neglect it, it keeps you from really enjoying and experiencing the other three areas of it, right? And so that is why I definitely had to stress this out, and I had to take the opportunity. I didn't want to have a guest on here because that's really important. I would be remiss. I would be doing you guys, my listeners, my viewers, a huge disservice if I didn't take the time to really express that and remind that, because it's essential when creating your version of the good life that your spirit is well, that your spirit is at peace in the midst of the grind, in the midst of building, in the midst of scaling, in the midst of getting fit, in the midst of getting that mental sharpness. It's essential that your spirit is well, and that your spirit is full and satisfied and continually being renewed. So this means, look, I need you to do some fun. Do something that's very fun. Whatever your idea of fun is, take the time and do some continual activity that is fun, not work related, not physical related, with your spouse, without your spouse, with your kids, without your kids, whatever you choose to do. Go have fun. Go renew your spirit. Do something that's going to energize you. Do something that's going to experience. Do something that's really enjoyable and that will renew, refresh, and re-energize your spirit. That's my petition to you today. That's my challenge to you guys today. All right. All right, guys. That is this week's episode. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. We're gonna be diving more into the core four this month. I really think it's great to talk about careers, but I think it's time to get back really to like the basis, the foundation of like the good life, and that is that personal wellness. So we're going to be talking about the physical, we're going to talk about the mental, we're going to be talking about the spiritual, we're going to be talking about the financial, we're going to be talking about all of that, but we're specifically going to be talking about that with phenomenal guests. So it is going to be me, but it's going to be also phenomenal guests that can bring value to you. All right. So without that further ado, make sure that you guys who are watching on Facebook, those of you who are watching on YouTube, go ahead and Go ahead and smash that like button. Go ahead and give this a big thumbs up. Subscribe. The best way that you guys can support the podcast is to subscribe on all platforms that you guys are consuming this. So YouTube, Facebook, iTunes. Subscribe. It really helps. That's the biggest way that you guys can support the podcast right now. So I really appreciate you guys. If you guys are listening to this on iTunes, if you listen to this on Spotify, go ahead and give this that 5-star, give this that like, give us the highest reviews that you can do. You know, we only do 5 stars, nothing less. And last but not least, share this with somebody who really could use this, because this was one of those that just like, you know what? I needed this. This was a good one, right? All right, guys. So that's our show. You know how we do it. We're helping you create your version of the good life every single Thursday. Until then, we'll see you next week.